welcome. This is Ladies Night right here on Independent Television. My name is Ameze Obaisiagboni. Yes, you can call me the Empress of the Airwaves. You know how we always do it every time on the program. We bring to you an amazing topic. We discuss it right here, and of course get to let you give your own opinions on our social media platforms, which are scrolling on the screen currently. And definitely today is no different. Last week, if you were a part of the show, you would recall that we talked about the 5 love languages, how knowing and understanding each and every one of those languages would help you to be a better person, one, and help you to build a better relationship with people that you come across, especially that one person who you may spend your life with for the rest of the lifetime. So basically, we talked about the fact that this week we will be looking at the temperaments. There are actually 4 temperaments. The first one is called Sanguine, the second one is Melancholic, the third one is Choleric, and the last one is Phlegmatic. Now I'll give you a rundown of what these 4 temperaments are about, what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and basically just give you an overview of each and every one of them before we talk about it on the program. Like I said, I'm not alone in the studio. I've got 2 beautiful ladies who will be joining me to discuss this tonight. I've got Caroline Okonji. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
You look beautiful.
Oh, really? Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, and I also have Isaiah Urugide. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm glad you said fine, because I felt like you were about to say something, but I'm not going to spill because I don't think that's my duty to
keep it. Since she was able to keep it.
Yes.
Well, we're trying to, compose ourselves.
We will fight
and
the
I
weather.
love the whole sequin dress thing going on.
I actually got dressed
cool.
before Caroline did, so this is called copycatting.
The Empress, I don't want to say anything because I think I'm in
But
shock.
it's cool, and you guys have like different styles, and they work really good for you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, now, like I said, I'm going to let you in on what the 4 temperaments are about, and basically when we get back, we'll talk more about these temperaments and how understanding each of them would help you build a better relationship with people that you come across. We'll be right back.
A temperament is a combination of inborn traits that subconsciously affect all our behavior. There are 4 basic types of temperaments, of which an individual has 2 or more. These temperaments are sanguine, choleric, melancholy, and phlegmatic. The sanguine is a very social person who likes to be with people. Of all the temperaments, the sanguine is the easiest to be around socially. They are outgoing, handshaky, and very touchy. They bring life and energy into a room by their very presence. Their cheerfulness and humor brightens everyone's life. They are an optimistic type of person who believes life is an exciting and fun-filled experience that should be lived to the fullest. They tend to make friends easily, love people very easily, and thrive on compliments. They don't hold grudges so quickly, and they apologize very quickly. But their weaknesses are they are very compulsive talker. They exaggerate and elaborate on everything. They hardly remember names. They are sometimes referred to as too happy for some people. They're very restless, egotistical, have a very loud voice and very loud laugh. They get angry very easily, but usually tend to forgive quickly. They hate to be alone. They always want to be popular or be at the center of attraction. And sometimes they are very forgetful. They always repeat stories because they tend to talk a lot. A melancholy, on the other hand, tends to be extremely patient, which makes them excellent teachers or parents. They do not become easily frustrated when talking to others. They are also very able to wait in long lines without much distress. A melancholic is very analytical. They also tend to have mood swings. They are also perfectionist. They have a specific idea of the perfect situation, the perfect way to do things, and the perfect outcome. They tend to set incredibly high standards for themselves and for others. They also tend to have a fierce loyalty to friends, family, co-workers, and employers. Their loyalty must be earned, but once it's earned, individuals with melancholic temperament are loyal for life. They are very self-motivated. The most easy to spot trait of a melancholy is that a melancholic person is typically very calm and quiet despite his or her powerful internal emotions. These individuals often choose to hide their feelings, preferring to remain calm and quiet. Melancholics are also very, very creative. The next type of temperament is called the choleric. The choleric is usually very bossy and arrogant. They are fearless and courageous. They are quick to temper, which means they get angry very easily. They are easily bored. They're very enthusiastic, quick thinkers, very domineering, but very great leaders. The last temperament is called a phlegmatic. A phlegmatic is an introvert. They do not like stress and they tend not to worry a lot. They're very gentle, unenthusiastic, in control of themselves. They can be very stubborn, but stay focused on a project and get it done perfectly. They have problems with motivating themselves, and they usually need the strength of a choleric to make them even do what they are supposed to do. They are sometimes called lazy because they do not like to do things immediately. They like to procrastinate. They're also fond of discouraging others from achieving things that usually may take time to achieve. Phlegmatics make very good parents and they take quality time with their children. They also have very good administrative skills when they put their mind to it. Temperaments set broad guidelines on everyone's behavior and patterns which will influence a person as long as he lives. Each temperament has its own unique qualities and shortcomings, strengths and challenges. But in all, a temperament can be modified or even improved upon.
Alright, welcome back. So for those of you who did not know what the 4 temperaments are, I hope that little, should I say audio class helped you to understand, because we want you to understand what we are talking about right here on the program. Now we have sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatic and choleric. We've talked about them and what their weaknesses and their strengths are and how you can identify these traits in a particular person. Like I said in that video, basically someone or each and every one of us has 1, 2 or 3 parts of those temperaments merged into our personalities. Now, nobody has just one. You have at least 2. Some people have even the 4, but majorly, most people have the 3 or 2, as the case may be. And blending those 2 things helps to make who you are. So we're going to be talking about it right here. I know both of you have researched. I know both of you have a lot of ideas of these temperaments and how we can learn about them and of course understand them so that we can be able to relate to everyone we come across. So let's take a look at the sanguine. I'll start with Isaiah Rogide. From your own understanding of who the sanguine is, what do you think is the best way to deal with a sanguine?
Okay, so first of all, let me just say this. I want to just say that there is no bad temperament or good temperament, because I've heard some persons say it's good to be sanguine, others phlegmatic and melancholy, that's bad, and this one. There is no good or bad temperament. Everybody is allowed to interact with the world however they find out. And then for the sanguine, I believe the best way to understand someone who is sanguine is to not classify them as too loud. You know, most times people see them and they go, oh, she's here again. Oh,
but it feels like that at times.
Yeah, it does. But
you just talk too much. Too much.
You know, it does. It does feel like that sometimes. But it's just, how do I put it? It's not something that they particularly control. You know, it's not something that she just, for instance, she just walks into the room and decides, today I'm going to be as loud as possible. I'm going to disturb everybody. It just comes naturally. The same way somebody else would just revert into their shell when something happens. And sometimes you want them to speak up, but they can't. That's the same way sometimes you want them to quiet down, but they can't. So I feel like increasing your tolerance level for this kind of people helps you relate with them better. Just prepare yourself to always listen when they're around, because many a times they really love to be heard. And you cutting them short and you butting into what they're saying sometimes makes them feel like You know, just like someone holding your lips when you're about to speak.
You're caging them.
You won't be able to hold it down.
It will eventually affect their personality. It will eventually definitely affect their relationship with you if you keep hushing them. Because you're not just hushing that, maybe that particular topic that they're talking about. You're hushing a whole lot more. It's like you're limiting their ability to express themselves. So they would withdraw from you if you do not allow them be as expressive as
it would
possible.
take someone who hushes a lot for a sanguine to withdraw. Most times, yes, they withdraw for a while and they are loud again.
Yeah,
it's difficult to see a sanguine carrying grudges or holding grudges against someone because it's just their personality. They don't know how to just keep to themselves. They want to share. They want to talk.
Yeah,
they want
I think
make everyone laugh.
When she said they will withdraw, it's when it becomes a problem for them. Anytime they want to talk to you,
I said it takes a lot of caution.
Yes.
And what I have noticed from some persons that I think they are sanguine is they don't just stop talking. They withdraw from you and focus on somebody else. That's what they do. Who would listen to them. Yeah. They don't stop talking because you don't want them to talk.
It's already in them.
They just don't talk to you anymore. So it's like they're coming and they've been all hi, hello, and when they get to you, they just hi to the next person. You get, so it will affect your relationship with them. And I feel like, you know, like I said, increasing your tolerance level around them is really helpful because most times sanguines are like the, would I say, happiest set of persons?
Well, to that extent.
Well, let's just,
no, I want to use,
for lack of a better word,
happiest. I'll use jovial. I feel happy is relative. It depends on your own definition of happiness.
Thank you for
so I think jovial.
That. So yeah, jovial and friendly.
Yes,
put it that way.
Definitely friendly. They can walk anywhere and be friends with everybody.
Exactly. True. And they tend to be relatable, but sometimes they can, you know, overstep their boundaries as well because
without knowing.
Without knowing. Thank you. So you just have to like increase tolerance level when you're dealing with them.
Okay. CY, do you know anybody who has that trait, the sanguine trait? And how has it been for you relating with them?
Okay, I don't really think I've had that kind of experience, but, you know, the particular one I want to talk about, should I call her a sanguine, but she has that trait.
It's funny how you say you don't think, because I know someone who works with you on your special report program. That person is a sanguine and definitely you must know.
I think I don't want to talk about him here. But okay, he's lively to be with, you know. I think let me talk about him. I think having him around makes my work day for that particular day amazing. Now, I've been able to work with someone else who doesn't talk like that, who is not a sanguine, and I don't feel the vibe.
Bored.
Yes, I don't feel the vibe. I feel like, God, everything about it is just fight. I think that kind of person is choleric. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I just
fight a lot as well. It's just they want their own way, but they're not as aggressive as the choleric is.
Yeah, choleric. Yes, the person is a choleric, like a die-hard choleric. He doesn't smile. Sorry, I'm saying this, but for you to make him smile,
the person could also. I don't know the person you're talking about.
You don't know, but
let's talk about melancholic.
No, let's talk about this particular one.
The sanguine.
This one, sanguine. Yeah. Now, if I'm around him, trust me, all day I'm going to be smiling. I'm going to be laughing. I'm going to talk. I'm going to argue. But the argument is just a positive one, a lively one that cheers you up. And even when you don't want him to talk, sorry to disappoint you, he would talk because that is his kind of person. And sometimes it's just being awkward. Even in being awkward, he's still amazing. You understand? I think his own kind of experience has been something I would say like I want to experience more. But I've not been able to see the one that probably irritates me, gets me pissed off, because sometimes some of this sanguine can be very, very annoying. Especially when you don't want you want your privacy and they're just there. They won't want to understand that you don't need them at that particular time. They just want to be themselves. They want to talk because that is their kind. sometimes they will even try to cheer you up. But to you, at that particular time, you just need your privacy. You need to be left alone, and they are there. So some of the sanguine can be very amazing. For the one I have experienced, like you know him, he's an amazing person to be with, very lively. All his talks sometimes can be annoying. No,
I was just waiting for that aspect, because
sometimes can be very annoying.
It's not possible for it to just be perfect.
Yes, exactly. But when that annoying part comes up, sorry, you just be the one fighting yourself, because he doesn't even care. Whether he's upsetting you, he doesn't care. Whether you don't want him to talk, he doesn't care. Whether, in fact, he doesn't just want to care. All he knows that for now,
I don't think they don't care.
But not that he doesn't care.
If you notice, sometimes the sanguine, when they notice you're upset with them, they try, although they don't know how to do it in the way that might suit you, but they try to
adjust,
keep talking to you, trying to get you to come out from that mood and all that. So I think that's their own way of saying, I'm sorry.
Sometimes, even like this particular person I'm talking about, there was a day he was a little bit upset, and I was like, let me see how far he can keep it to himself. He was like, I'm not going to talk today. I beg. I just the face. I'm not going to talk to anybody. To a large extent, he actually tried, but he couldn't keep it. At some point, he was like, hey, before you say I'm angry with you, it's because of what you did, that's I'm angry. But I've forgiven you. I've let go.
Without asking.
Well, he just said, I just don't want to continue like this. I will not say I'm angry with you because of that small thing. You know, he just couldn't keep it to himself. He can't continue like that because he has a lot to talk about, and he has seen so many things as he's driving, as we're working, that he wants to talk about, and keeping it to himself is just like a whole lot of load. So he needed to just pull out from that particular mood he found himself and be his real person. So he let it out, and that's it.
All right, let's talk about the choleric. Now, if a choleric is angry, can the choleric easily come out from that anger?
Sometimes they can be.
Well, I feel like that depends on how the situation is handled. If they are allowed to express that anger as allow me to emphasize that, as aggressively as possible. Most of them that I have met, it's like once they've expressed it, there's this cool, like,
I think I've let it out.
You get it is when they do not see avenues, or maybe they're trying to express that anger and then someone is like butting in, or they don't have the avenue to express the anger. I feel like that anger is going to stay until they actually express it. And then you're going to find yourself, maybe you feeling like, oh, this thing happened like 4 days ago, by now she should have been calm, you know, and then you go there and you're like, hey, hello, and the next thing you hear is hello, but you see, let me just tell you about what you did 4 days ago, because they always want to express it, you know, they always want to, like, they want to, how do I put it now,
to let you know how they feel.
Exactly, they want to let you know how they feel, and they want to do it in a way that it's as though they're like transferring the hurt so you can feel it too, not because they actually want you to now break down in tears or anything, but I feel like they feel incomplete if they haven't expressed that anger that they feel, because it is very easy to annoy someone that is choleric. So don't be surprised when you're working with somebody and they are always nagging, like always expressing, don't you do this, you did that, you did. It may be tiring, but they just can't keep it to themselves when it comes to that aspect of them. They tend to be very, let me use the word, aggressively expressive.
And sometimes you just said they want to talk, they want to tell you. At times, it's not just talking. They want to scream it at you. I live with someone who, I live with people who are choleric, and there are times when I'm like, okay, the volcano is about to erupt. that is a choleric for you. Sometimes they shout, they scream the roof down.
They don't even know how to talk in a polite manner.
They're trying their best to tell you how they feel, and everything goes into the anger, and they just
lay it out.
Yes.
You know, well, a choleric person, sometimes they're very irritating. Sometimes. Because when they want to speak, they don't think twice. They don't consider. They just want to let it out how it is from the inside. How they feel. They don't sometimes though, they don't consider your feeling, whether or not you're going to feel bad, or it's going to hurt you, or you're going to take it to one side, or you're going to feel anyhow. They don't want to consider. The only thing that comes into their mind is, I need to let it out. I need to say it. I need to just be free within me. And you said something that sometimes when they are done talking, when they are done expressing themselves, they feel calm. Yes. When they are done talking, and on the second thought, they just sit down and think about how they talk to you. Some of them can just realize that, okay, I think I overreacted.
Exactly.
I think I shouldn't have done it this way. I shouldn't have talked to her like this. And in that process of rethinking, they will just come back and apologize. Okay, sorry for the way I spoke to you. I didn't mean to sound that way. I didn't mean to be hard on you. But I'm sorry, I just have to let it go. So those kind of people, I still see them as amazing people.
Do cholerics really apologize?
Some. That's what I'm just saying sometimes.
A mature choleric to apologize.
No.
Well, sometimes
they always divert
choleric cannot.
They want their way back into your heart.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, one thing I've noticed about these people is, if they apologize to you today, it doesn't mean you should not expect the exact same thing to happen again.
It's definitely going to happen. It's
because the next time you annoy them, even though they just told you, I shouldn't have shouted at you,
they'll still shout.
I didn't mean to raise my voice. Even if it takes 5 minutes for you to step on their toes again, get ready to hear the shout again and again and again. And if, like you said, they are mature, they will keep rendering that apology, but they would always shout. It takes a whole lot for them not to express that anger or that emotion as aggressively as possible. Like I said, I don't know why they tend to be so aggressive though, but
it's their personality. It's how God created them.
Yeah, and that's the one reason why we're talking about it, so that when you get to see all these kind of temperament, you will know the particular one this person is exhibiting. You understand? So you just get to know that, okay, we talked about sanguine, you know that this person is a sanguine. Now we talk about choleric, you know that this person is a choleric person. So whichever one the person is exhibiting, you already know where that person fits in, and you adjust. It is either you walk out or you just sit down there and bear the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's really good that we're talking about it, because understanding actually plays a very good role in helping people better their relationship. Because I can imagine you not knowing that someone you're working with is sanguine, and then you just tell them, please leave me alone, and then they keep coming and they keep coming. And I can just imagine if you're a choleric, you can see
they
what
don't
that
really
can
work
cause.
well together.
Yes, they don't. So it's just, talking about it frequently. At least if you have a good understanding of the kind of person that you are and the kind of person that this other person is, it will, give you a wise way to handle relationships
and be able to communicate.
You can
with
just
each
walk
other.
away. Maybe you know that if this person keeps coming back like this, I am going to spark. So let me just leave, because she's not going to stop. That kind of thing. And I think it's good that we're actually talking about it here.
Okay, now let's move over to the melancholic, which I think, if I'm correct,
it has to do
the three of us have that part of us. So, calm. Well, it depends. Calm is also relative. Melancholics sometimes can pass off to be like cholerics. When you mention someone who is always frowning his face, you said he's choleric. He probably might be melancholic, because melancholics, not that they want to frown their faces, but they just don't want anybody to come near them. They just want their own space. Don't be around me. They are always moody at times. Like,
just
they have mood swings.
Unemotional.
Okay, so how do you deal with someone who is a melancholic?
Okay, well, if, like you said, I would say you're a bit right in describing us, or let's say me, let me speak for myself.
No, us.
As a bit melancholic. But one of the reasons why most times I've heard people tell me, I didn't know you were this approachable. Looking at you from far, you seemed so in your own space. And the truth is, many times when I am like that, I am actually in my own space. Like, there's a lot going on in my head.
In your head, exactly.
Like, I am thinking of so many. There are times when I have gone like 8 years into the future. I'm telling you, there are times I've gone 8 years into the future, and it takes a very, very welcoming smile sometimes to bring me back and make me pay attention to you. So, well, how do you deal with them? Okay, let me.
How do you deal with you?
Exactly what I was going to say. I was going to take myself as a case study. I think majorly for melancholy, I've come to notice that sometimes they actually mean they mean the best. They don't actually have that, grudge holding ability of choleric. They may look angry and moody, but it's not like they are angry with you per se. I feel understanding is key to me. Like, if at all you are going to passively deal with a sanguine and intentionally avoid a choleric, when it comes to melancholic, I think you should actually take your time to study them and understand, because melancholics usually have more mood swings than most other temperaments.
Yes.
So you should study them. You should know when, okay, this person is not in the kind of smiling, happy mood right now. Let me just give them some time, because they can actually come out of it. You can just see them, looking all moody and frowny and in their own space at that time. It doesn't mean that 2 hours later they can't come and welcome you with a smile. You understand? So I think really taking your time to study them and understand, their moods and their, let's just say personality in general, it really helps you deal with them better.
And funny enough, they're actually the most difficult people to understand, because they
Yes,
can be like this right now, and later they
honestly,
actually
you
just
get
switching.
like their mood swings are like really
when for me, my own kind of melancholy, I don't know how to explain it, because I think I'm very simple. Yes, but one thing about me is that when I really need my space, which is rare, because sometimes when I'm in my space, I think about a whole lot. I see myself calculating, thinking about some things I'm supposed to have done, things I'm supposed to achieve, places I'm supposed to be, my expectations and all of that. And when I'm in that kind of mood, I don't want any disturbance. I just want to be left alone. I just want to see myself thinking out things. And
Exactly.
when I'm done, then I can be the other person you want me to be. But while I'm in that kind of mood and you try to disturb me, I just get pissed off. Even though I won't express it to you, like I won't show it to you, but deep down inside, I think you're not needed here. I don't want you. I don't want to see you. But I might not even say it. I'll just be there fighting myself on how to tell you to leave, but you might not understand me. So now, talking about how to deal with a melancholy like me, I think one of the things that gets me off that mood is good music. If you know my kind of song, those kind of songs that turns me on, that gets me in the mood, just play one or two tracks for me and you see me, then I'm back. I'll begin to not to it, because I love dancing, even though I don't know how to dance. But I just see myself getting off that mood, and and something I really observe is when a melancholy is just there, not to really cause it. You don't have to probably say, okay, this was exactly what happened to me that made me to go into this mood, or this. You're just on your own. The right word to use is they are the best mood swingers. They can swing. They can. You'll be one. Was she not the person that was
smiling
laughing
and just with
What
everybody,
happened
but
to her
now
now?
she just
Change. And when she's in that mood, trust me, anything you say, anything you do, doesn't make her happy, doesn't please that kind of person. He or she is just there and doesn't want your moments. So I think,
and they don't want sanguines around
at all. That
especially when they're in that kind of mood.
they don't want, because they feel they will talk those. In fact, they will talk you into anger, and you'll be like, hey, choleric, just want to react.
Prior to the elections in Edo State, I had the opportunity to work on the campaign trail of one of the contestants, that's the candidates, and I had the, let me say, the rare privilege of having so many personalities in one bus, because we used to travel to different different parts of the state to join the candidates to campaign and cover it. And there was a particular day I recall that I was sitting at the very back. I just wanted to be on my own. I was pressing my phone and just browsing, and one particular guy kept trying to bring me, and I was like, guy,
I don't need you.
It was like, you're always pressing your phone, you're always to yourself. I see that you don't like talking. I said, it's not as if I don't like talking. If I want to talk, I will talk. But right now, I just want to be on my own. Don't disturb me. And you see, this person is screaming their heads off. This person is talking, and so, especially sanguines, they like to talk loudly. Their voices must be heard. And the choleric is there doing his own.
Overshadow theirs.
It's sometimes, if you don't understand that this is why these people are behaving the way they are behaving, it might piss you off because you're not like them.
Yeah, at all.
And sometimes it's easier to relate with people who have similar temperaments with you. It's sometimes I find myself being drawn to people who are melancholic, who are phlegmatic, and sometimes choleric, because I have that part as well. So sometimes it helps me to say, okay, I'm not the only person that is like this. It's easier for me to
see you in another person.
Yes, you know, as Isaac was talking just now, I was just smiling. I was like, this girl is just saying everything that I would actually have said. It's sometimes comforting when you know that other people are like you out there. Exactly. But then you don't rule out the fact that people are there who are not like you in any way. They are the direct opposite. And so you have to understand who they are and why they behave the way they behave so that you guys can live in harmony. If not, And I don't think the world would have been as interesting as it is right now if
everybody was the same.
Exactly. If everybody was the same, it would have been really boring. So imagine everybody going into mood swings at the same time.
It would be disastrous or probably irritating.
Terrible. It would be really terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the phlegmatic. They're my personal favorite because I feel like, I don't know, let me not use that word so I don't sound nasty. So let's just talk about them.
But we would like to hear why they're your favorite.
For reasons best known to me, I don't think I should. So let's talk about them a little bit.
Is it because they are too calm?
Are they really calm? They're just, let me use this derogatory word, they are lazy at times. They don't want to do anything now. They want to postpone it tomorrow, next tomorrow. I will do it. That's the phlegmatic, the typical phlegmatic. They are not easily moved. It's not like a choleric that walks into a room full of 50 people that they don't know and they want to lead everybody. A phlegmatic would just go to the back and probably sit down.
I want to be there.
They just want to relax.
For me, I think I just see them as, I don't see them as lazy. I'm just seeing them like being in their world. They want to be in their world. They want to be themselves. They don't want trouble. They're just trying to avoid so many things and get so many things undone. Yeah, because you get to see them behaving to be quiet and all nice, but sometimes they are not that kind of person. You see them. They're just trying to be appear nice before everybody, and at times they are not. Why some of them just try to be like, okay, they go into a very crowded place and please, I don't want to be noticed. I don't want to be heard. I don't want somebody to say that I did this. I don't want somebody to say that I caused this. At my own convenient time, if my spirit tells me to join them in that conversation, I'll join them. But for now, let me just go and be.
What's the definition of lazy?
No, for me,
not wanting to do anything.
I don't want to really call them lazy.
No, I don't mean lazy, the bad kind of lazy.
I think I mean like laid back.
They are not pushy.
It's still lazy.
Okay, but I really would want to know why they are your favorite, because to me sometimes I tend to feel like they are a bit too laid back for my liking.
They are not pushy. They are not forthcoming.
You get like sometimes
when you're a choleric, if you have phlegmatics, sometimes it's perfect.
Yeah, it's easy.
You don't have to stress yourself.
Okay. Now I see why they would be your favorite, because
you can use them to do anything you want to do, and they just don't care.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take the position. They don't really care.
Yeah.
You get
they are the I don't care kind of persons. They are not bothered about things. They don't see things as big deal. They're just.
But when they do get bothered, when they do get angry, they can be worse than the choleric. They have seen some who their anger takes forever. Like
I think I mean
nothing you say to them will make them change their mind. Once they've settled that this is wrong, what you did to me is wrong, and this is how I'm going to treat you from now on, it's going to be really difficult to make them change their minds.
To get them back. Well, I like that calm part in them, but seeing them as the other part of them that makes me feel like they are not forthcoming, they are always there, they are draggy. Like if you're this kind of person that is outgoing, they can pull you back. They'll make you feel like there's no need to go into that place now, because they themselves don't want to be there. They have their own personal reason why they don't want to be there. Rather than making you see reasons, they just lazy you into it and talk you into it like, okay, there's no point now. We can always go there tomorrow. We can always go there. They just make you see reasons with them. To them, they don't want to go. They have their own personal reason and they just want to keep it to themselves.
They actually don't have any personal
Sometimes
reason.
they don't.
Sometimes, yeah.
They just don't want to.
They just don't
There
want
is
to,
one
yeah.
thing I really like about the phlegmatic people is the fact that they can't be bothered. It doesn't matter. You can tell a phlegmatic that the president of the United States of America is coming to this house.
You don't
and
care.
they're like, oh,
Okay.
really? You know, and sometimes that's unbothered nature avoids trouble. So it's like you just want to bring this house down and you're talking to someone who is just like, oh, I'm sorry. At some point you're going to just tell yourself like, okay, fine, whatever, you know, and just calm yourself down. I like that so much about them because you can hardly have issues with them. They're just like people, but I do not really like the passive nature of them. You can literally just overlook them too easily. You know, it takes maybe them having a choleric or sanguine friend for them to be seen most of the time. A choleric because maybe the choleric is leading their own team and they feel like this my friend should be leading too, so they always speak up for you. I remember those people in class who wants to be assistant class prefect and the class prefect shouting ha ha. You don't want any of that.
Yeah.
But you know, I feel like it doesn't really, it's not good to be that passive if you ask me though. That's what I know. They can't help it. I know they can't help it, but for me sometimes, you know, you just want to jack them up, you know, like
But
just
the funny
move
thing is
already.
when you actually do get them to take those positions, those special
amazing.
leadership positions, they do really well.
Exactly,
They're
and their
good
commitment
leaders.
level is top notch. Like it's almost as though they take things one thing at a time. So the moment you tell them you're in charge of this, they're
They want to give
committed
you
to
their
that
best.
cause, and it's impressive. If
I
that's one
want
thing,
to talk
it's
about this
impressive.
part where you made mention of people tend to overlook them much. Yes, and it's something they should also work on themselves. Like, if you are a phlegmatic person, I think you should also try to have a friend who is sanguine that can actually help you to talk yourself out, who will disturb you and talk. So, like, be able to express you publicly, like tell people about you. You know, this is my friend, she's this, so she can do this. Even when you don't want to, she's always there to put you out. Because if you don't have those kind of friends around you, probably as a phlegmatic person, you also having that kind of person as a friend, both of you will just remain there. People will always overlook you. You are the least kind of person that will come into anybody's head when it comes to positions like we just made. You made mention of it and you talked about it. People will not recommend you because they are not seeing you. That you in you is not coming out. You're not projecting yourself. You don't even have a friend that can even speak good of you. At least, she can do this, but she's just shying away from me. She doesn't just want to do. But if you give it to her, she will give it her best attention. She will put in all her best. You know. So we should also try to understand that if you know where you fit in, know the kind of person you are, and have other kind of temperament to complement yours, so that if you are, because this is the most dangerous one, people would always overlook you. That's it.
And I kind of feel like it's actually dangerous for a phlegmatic to be around a choleric. Even though, like you said, cholerics like to have them around. But I think it's dangerous because it can easily get them to build a very low self-esteem. Cholerics tend to make you, they tend to dominate people, you get. So if you are laid back, you are already laid back. But cholerics don't really care that this person is already laid back. They still want to have that dominating and, you know, bossy attitude towards you. So it's like pushing you further down
They see
into
you as an
whatever
opportunity to
shell
express themselves
that
more.
you get, and it sometimes affects their self-esteem. So I feel like it shouldn't be, it's not a good combination for phlegmatic people to be around cholerics. I don't think it's healthy for them.
Okay.
That was why for me, I think the best person to be around them is the
Should be
sanguine.
sanguine, exactly.
For me, because if you are a laid-back kind of person and you're having someone who is choleric, which is a bossy person, as a friend, trust me, the person will help you become more quiet.
You just vanish into the darkness.
Because the person would always want to lord over you.
The darkness of their bossy nature.
Yeah, you'll be the best option. Sometimes, not all of them.
Okay.
Some can actually help you out.
I think it depends on what the choleric's second temperament is. Some cholerics are choleric melancholic, some are choleric sanguine. Now, a choleric sanguine can work with the phlegmatic without really dominating them, because that sanguine aspect of them still is bubbly and trying to uplift this person. But a choleric melancholic, they are the deadliest. Seriously. Especially when the choleric comes before the melancholic, it's not a good combination. My granddad is, and wow, that's all I'll say. Wow, he is a good leader. He is a very determined person. That's one thing I know about cholerics and melancholics. If they set a goal, if they have an aim, they must conclude it. Exactly. They must reach it. As in, it doesn't matter how many people they have to step on before they get there, but they must get there. That's one good trait about them.
Yeah, they're always determined.
Yes, they're very determined. So it's also good to have someone like that in your life. And when you know that this person, this is how they are. If you're a leader, for instance, and you have choleric as your subordinate, knowing that when I give this person a minor position that makes them look like they're big, it will help them to work better with you. It's better than trying to tell them you are the boss, you are the boss. A choleric does not want to hear that you are the boss. They want to hear that they are the boss. So when you give them a position that makes them feel like a boss, that makes them feel like a boss, it helps them to do better and work better with you. Okay. Now, I want us to talk a little. Lately I've been hearing really close people telling me I'm bossy. I know I used to hear it back then, but not as much as it is now. I don't know why it has increased. I'm sorry. But how does a person, because I know there are women out there who are in the same position. I was talking with Mama P a few months back, and she said, my dear, don't mind them, Joe. We are bossy, we like you like that. Because that is how she is. Her own is even worse. But the fact is she has owned it, and she doesn't mind anything anybody wants to say. She's like that. That's her own thing. But sometimes it can have an effect on your relationships with your family members, with your friends, and even with your spouse if you're married or about to get married. Now, how does a choleric woman who is termed bossy, even melancholics kind of, sometimes they get to be bossy. That's why I said choleric melancholics are the deadliest, because they have the really bad aspects sometimes. So how does a bossy woman, because this is ladies' night and we should also try to talk about the ladies. Yeah. A woman who has been termed bossy, how can she come down to the level where the bossiness doesn't really affect her relationship with other people? It's not their fault. They can't help it. We can't help it.
Oh, you're actually admitting. Well,
how do they be themselves around people but not exert that bossiness too much on people?
Okay. First of all, I think as a person, first of all, as a person, you should be able to know some of those things you do that makes people feel, although you might not know, but some of those things you do within you that makes people feel you are bossy. Because as an individual who people tell you you're bossy, at your private and quiet time, you must sit down to think about it and ask yourself questions like, what exactly am I even doing that is making people feel like I'm bossy? Or what are those things they see in me? Then your mind will definitely tell you probably the way I talk to people, or the way I carry myself, or the way I do things when people are there. You might not really get the exact thing, but something in you tells you that this is exactly what I'm doing. Now, for the relationship aspect of it, how it affects others. Now, the people you call your friend should be able to understand your kind of person. Why some people will understand and not be comfortable with it. They just want to flow. But within them, they are not just comfortable with the way you do things sometimes. The way you talk to them, the way you order them, the way you just want them to always get things done, and they are not just comfortable, but because this is my friend, I have to do it. This is my primary, this is my sister, this is my brother, I have to do it just to make her happy. Now, when you as a person that people tells you're bossy wants to really know if you are bossy, you have to be conscious with the kind of things you do when people are around you. Just to yourself, I just want to know how I really talk. Be your real self. Don't try to like be calm or talk politely, because you know that this is not you. Just be that same person you are, but be conscious of the way you're going to talk. Be conscious of how you're going to behave around people. Then you'll be able to know that, okay, I think this is exactly what I do that makes people feel I'm bossy. Like, people talk to me, I don't take what they tell me. I just want my own opinion to stand. I just want everything I want to get done. Like, anything you want it to, that way. You want it to happen that way. You want it to get to probably, yes, anything you just want. You want to make sure it's done the way you want it, not the way they want it. You don't, you know. So for me, I think I would say that if it's really affecting your relationship with people or with your family members, then you just have to allow people's opinion for some time. You probably allow people's opinion to rule you. You allow people's decision to also stand. When it's like, I want to do this kind of thing, just probably see yourself doing it for them and see how the reaction and the feelings will be like. Yes, you might just be doing your thing. Nobody wants to give people chance to order them. You wouldn't, because you want to make people feel like you're not bossy. You want people to know that you're friendly. You displease yourself. People will begin to order you around. No. If you know that this is exactly who you are, and you don't want people to see you as a low class or a person who doesn't even have stand, who can't even speak for herself or defend herself or make decisions for herself, people will take you that way. But if you're the kind of person that challenges people's opinion, even when it's not comfortable for you, you want to put it out there to them that I am not comfortable with what you're saying. You give them reasons why you're rejecting their decisions or why you want people to accept your own opinion. People tend to see it as you're being bossy, or you don't even give room to people's idea. You know, a lot of people would misunderstand your personal lifestyle as being bossy because you don't take nonsense for an answer. You don't want to allow people to rule you. You don't want to be ordered around like one baby out there that nobody would ask questions. No. So the way people see people as being bossy are quite different. So that's just it for me.
Okay.
I think.
Isaac, how about you?
Okay, so first of all, let me just try and analyze what you said. In case some persons are not really understanding what we are trying to talk about. For a woman to be choleric, it means that we're talking about a woman who has a tendency to shout at even her mother-in-law when she's angry.
That's why I want us to talk about it, because they say women should be submissive.
Exactly.
Now, how can a choleric be submissive?
Exactly. So I want us to really like understand what we're talking about. So you're looking at a woman that maybe when she was a girl, if you do anything, she just sparks, shout, and walks away. But this time, you're entering into matrimonial home and you're expected to be submissive. Now, it brings me to say this. I think I actually read it in a book by Dale Carnegie, but I can't remember the title. It is not impossible to work on your personalities. I've heard people say things like, that's just the way I am, you know? It's true that maybe you were born that way, but you can actually improve. You can actually move from being phlegmatic to sanguine. There are coping mechanisms, there are processes, there are books that you can read, motivational speeches. That is actually where motivational speakers get their
Motivational quotes from.
You get money from, because a motivational speaker can speak a phlegmatic person into a sanguine, and in those few moments of just hearing those fire breathing words, you just feel like I can change the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it expires, you go back to your shell, you know.
Yeah.
But it is actually possible to work on your personality, especially if just being the way you are is hurting somebody else. So let's just say she's choleric and her husband is phlegmatic. Everybody is going to start thinking, does this man have a say in his own home? Are you sure he can control his wife? You know, and it is going to affect his self-esteem. Imagine you both walking into, you know, an occasion and he goes, let me just go sit at the back. And you're like, excuse me, I'm going to the high table. And you know, it's going to really affect him, and it's going to get to a point where he's going to feel like, can I really control this lady? So if you're being just you, maybe your naturally born temperament is hurting the people around you, it is possible to work on it. It is possible. You have to be very determined. You have to be focused. For a woman like that, you know, especially in African homes, everybody expects you to be submissive. So don't, that's just the way I am, and ruin your marriage. Work on your temperament, because like you said at the beginning, people actually have more than one
temperament.
most of the time. Some persons can even have the 4. Some persons are born with the 4, while some persons work themselves up into being able to manage the 4. So you can actually work yourself away from being choleric, especially when you're around your husband or his family, or even your own family that are getting hurt by your personality. You can work on yourself to the point where whenever you're around them, you're comfortable and okay with being quiet at that time.
Okay. I want us to take, okay, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to add something, like, because I felt I actually talked more about family when it comes to a lady being choleric, bossy.
Yeah, I was actually relating to the question she asked, about being able to, relate with your husband if you're choleric. Most times it's family. Sometimes husbands don't really have issues.
Because they already know you. Yes, they already used to
not just family, friends at times. Have you heard a man's friend talking to him and saying, "Now, so your wife they talk to you"? Ha! If my wife,
that's exactly what I want to say, because
society
you can't
in
just
general
limit it to the family. The way you also relate with your friends, your husband's friends, matters a lot. Because there are some friends that can actually talk your husband out of your home. Exactly. They will just be like what you said now. Is this how your wife talks to you? She's very bossy. She's the one running this home. When that small girl you were talking to the other day was just being like, yes sir, yes sir. Please, you have to look for another girl that will be calming your nerves, or by the time she's done shouting at you like that, so that you will not start experiencing high BP. All those, So even in your bossy nature, try to understand that humility is the goal. Know when to react. Know when your temperament is needed. As a woman, you should be able to know when it's needed. It is either you're using it to defend your family, you're using it to make your husband outstanding, you're using it to project your family, and not using it to bring down your family. Because if you have temper, like there are some people that will tell you that you dare not talk to my husband like that, you dare not talk to my mother-in-law like that, you dare not talk to my sister like that. If you're using your own kind of temperament like that, I think people would say, okay, thumbs up for you, kudos. You understand? But when you're using yours to take your family apart, you want to show that you are the wife. You want to show that you are in charge. You want to show that you really married into a quiet family. You want to be that lion in the house, that lioness. No, that is not. Try to be able to control your kind of choleric temperament. Because if you don't, rather than getting good names, rather than people commending you, you get those negative names, those bad recommendations. People would rather know your family for that kind of person that fights a lot. You just give your family a name that you're not supposed to. You just earn it. So I think you should know how you relate generally with your friends, your husband family, your husband particularly, even the kind of places you go to, like occasions, you talked about it. Exactly. Your occasion, people are going, you might just be this kind of lioness in the house, nobody knows. You shout at your husband, but the moment you are outside, I think you should be able to wear a calm clothes. Leave the lioness in you at home. Go out with a nice cloth, which is...
Well, I don't totally agree with that, because you can't be killing your husband in the house and coming out and...
No, what I'm trying to say here is be defending your family, like be that kind of wife at home that you're always there to defend your husband. You want to fight for your husband, you want to speak. But when you go out there, allow him to be the man. Just be that calm wife and allow him rule. So that people will not say, you defend them for house, come outside again, defend them. That's just, you can give him hints on, if your husband might not be the talking type, you always want to speak for him. I've seen a husband and wife that the wife speaks more than the husband. But because of that, anywhere they go to, she wants to be the one to talk. She wants to be the one to express whatever they want, like where they'll say, your husband should come and give us speech. Or on behalf of my husband and I, she wants to talk. But at some point, she started giving the husband idea on how to talk outside. You understand? When they are there, she'll just pinch the husband and say, okay, just, you know how to talk for us now. just did one like that, compose himself, no they fear, no they shake. From there, the guy started building confidence to talk to people outside when they're in a public place. You just get to see him building that confidence. I was opportune to know because I was close to them back then in Delta State. You understand? So what I'm trying to say here is, if you're the one doing everything in the house, sometimes give your husband the room to also express himself. Help to build him. Help to build that confidence in him that is dying gradually, so that he can be able to face some of those things that you are facing.
Okay, I think that's something that every single person should try to do. Exactly. Regardless, we're not just focusing on the choleric. Even the melancholic has weaknesses. The sanguine has weaknesses. Now, when you know what you are, what temperament you have, you should learn what the strengths are. Build on the strengths. Learn what the weaknesses are and try to limit them. You know that, okay, I'm the kind of person that shouts at everybody when I'm angry. Try your best to control that shouting aspect. You know you're the kind of person that has mood swings, and most people are trying, like, let me not come near her. Try, even when you just want to be on your own. If someone greets you, put a smile on your face and greet the person back.
Yeah.
You don't have to just, go away from me, Joe. Just try your best to just smile. Hi, hello. And the person will definitely go eventually. And even if they don't go, try to accommodate the person. Yes, that's the word. We should learn how to accommodate people around us, and also build yourself. You're the first change. Before you try to change anybody around you, change yourself. Yes, we were born like this. Yes, this is how we are. But you can always try to improve. Make yourself a better self. Let me use that word. Try to do better for yourself. All right, I think this is where we'll say goodbye. I know we've not really talked extensively on it. I feel like we could still talk more, but I want you to go out and research. Do it yourself. We've given you a foundation, so try to leverage. Yes, there are books that you could read about it. I know there's one by Tim LaHaye. I think that's the first and most popular one on temperament. If you read that book, you'd get a lot of things about each and every single temperament, and you'll be able to learn more about it. So yeah, basically we'll be here again same time, same station next week for yet another exciting episode. I know you've had fun listening to every single thing we had to say today. My name is Ameze Obaisiagwan. I've had Caroline Okonji, I've had Isaiah Rogide in the building. Yes, they're regular faces on the program, definitely, but we'll be here again next time for another